current technology war between the world's #1 economy, the United States, and its challenger, China, is so intense that anyone watching would feel, wow, this is a fierce battle. It's a head-to-head clash. The United States has been hitting China hard since the days of President Joe Biden, really trying to take them down. But China has managed to survive time and again. Even I wonder how they pull it off. Or sometimes I think, oh, so that's how they do it. So today, I'm going to talk about this battlefield. Let's examine more closely and in greater detail the ongoing battle in the technology war between the United States and China, and see how China strategically manages its finances and resources so that they align with its political policies and governance, making Chinese technology increasingly powerful and globally competitive. Because even though the United States has imposed significant and severe restrictions on China, not only has China survived. Right now, you could say it's even stronger than ever. This video is sponsored by Krung Thai Bank, giving Thais the opportunity to access Chinese stocks in mainland China and Asian markets. With DR80 and 5 newly listed stocks, these are considered the top Chinese stocks because they are at the heart of China's economic growth strategy. The 5 stocks are: first, Cambricon Technology, a Chinese tech company that develops AI chips. Second, China Yangtze Power Company Limited, the largest hydropower producer in the world. Yes, it's the company that manages the power at the Three Gorges Dam. Third, iFlight Tech Company Limited, a company that develops AI for language processing. Fourth, Narara Technology Group Company Limited, a machinery company that manufactures semiconductors. And fifth, Zhangji Innolight Company Limited, a producer of high-speed optical transceivers. If anyone is interested, you can find more details at www.krungthai.com or call 02-111-11. Before we dive into the story of the technology war, I want to ask everyone this question again. Do you remember how the United States rose to become the world's #1 leader? If you know the answer, hit pause and leave your answer in the comments. But if you don't know, let me tell you. Here it is. The nuclear warheads in 1945, the nuclear warheads from the Manhattan Project by the United States, were launched at Japan and burned 67 Japanese cities to the ground. As a result, on August 12, 1945, Japan announced its unconditional surrender in the war. That was how military might was demonstrated, and how one could rise to become a world ruler in the 19th century. As for how to rule the world in this era, we no longer need to use violence. We don't need to use a single nuclear warhead. But the modern-day equivalent of the Manhattan Project's nuclear weapon is technological warfare, attacks in the fields of trade and industry, especially the technology industry. And the main target of the United States in this war is China. In this conflict, the United States has officially launched a technological war against China. Since October 2022, during the Biden administration, a major set of export control measures was announced to slow down China's technological advancement. At that time, they specifically ordered NVIDIA not to sell high-tech chips to China at all, unless they received government approval. They also prohibited allied countries from selling any high-tech products to China. At that moment, not a single nuclear warhead landed on China, but the entire Chinese stock market lost as much as $240 billion in value. With just a single executive order from President Joe Biden, the United States launched what could be called the very first missile in the technology war. And it was extremely effective, hitting China right where it hurt. The name of that first missile, which wiped $240 billion off the Chinese stock market, actually split into 3 smaller warheads in this set, each one powerful. The first of these sub-warheads that the US fired was about creating a monopoly. EDA, or Electronics Design Automation software, is specifically utilized to calculate exactly where each transistor will be placed on a chip. For example, a 3-nanometer chip can actually contain as many as 80 billion transistors. You obviously can't arrange them manually by hand. So, without this EDA software, you simply can't design modern chips. The companies that make EDA software are Synopsys, Cadence, and Mentor Graphics. Just these three companies account for 70% of the global EDA market, and all three are American companies. So the US basically monopolizes the EDA market and has declared that these three companies are strictly prohibited from selling advanced software to China without explicit government approval. The second subwarhead, monopolizing the machines used to print chips. As I mentioned, 3-nanometer chips? Yes, 3 nanometers are smaller than a virus. You can't just use your hands to place the transistors. They're way too tiny for that. You can't draw them by hand either. You need a printer, and not just any printer, but the most advanced high-tech printer out there. And not only does it have to be high-tech, but it's also incredibly complex. This kind of thing is called a lithography machine, specifically from ASML. Each machine is extremely expensive, costing around $200 to $350 million. At first, I thought, well, ASML is a Dutch company, so maybe they're lucky and won't be controlled by the US. But who can stop America from doing what it wants? The United States has this law called the Foreign Direct Product Rule, or FDPR for short. This law gives the US the authority to control products or technology all over the world. Anything that involves software made in America, uses American machinery, is developed in America, or has its original technology from America can all be controlled. For example, ASML uses something that needs to print, right? And it also needs to use laser light, right? ASML uses something called a Cymer source. This Cymer light source happens to be... The Cymer light source is a crucial part of ASML, and the Cymer light source is designed in California, United States. So technically, ASML would not be able to build these extremely advanced, highly sophisticated machines without the Cymer light source. This means ASML is also under the control of the US FDPR regulations. That's why the United States can order ASML to not sell high-tech machines to China, okay? You don't get to choose or answer okay and pick the third subwarhead, all right? What the United States did at that time was simply not allow chips to be sold to China at all. The US set a performance density threshold, meaning any chip fast enough to run nuclear simulations was banned from being sold to China. Toy chips or things like that could still be sold, but not the high-performance ones. At that time, President Joe Biden and his gang of European friends were all smiles, thinking that this match was a guaranteed knockout win. With China being monopolized like this, how could they possibly produce chips or any high-tech products? And all the money China had invested before, oh, we're talking billions and billions of dollars, would just go to waste. When that investment goes down the drain, it means China can't get any returns, right? And if China can't get returns, then the shareholders would lose confidence, and then the high-tech companies in China would have to gradually go bankrupt for sure. They were convinced it was a done deal, that China was finished. But it turned out Chinese tech companies didn't die. Whoa! At that time, people were wondering, is that even possible? Because if the companies can't make a profit, if they've invested and can't get their money back, in any other capitalist country, they'd have gone bust already. But this is China we're talking about. Listen, profit isn't the most important issue when it comes to doing business in China. Back then, the Chinese government actually said, we don't care whether our companies are profitable or not. What the government will do is keep injecting money into these companies as long as we can become independent from the United States. The first goal is to eliminate our reliance on the US. As for profit, that can come later. We'll deal with that later. America was confused, like China just wants to win? They don't even care about profit? Is that even possible? Not long after that, China started doing all sorts of things, trying this and that, and looking for opportunities. They countered the United States with something called DFC. At that time, it shocked the world. ChatGPT was completely stunned. And at that time, yes, US stocks dropped right away, but it didn't last that long. America was knocked out for a bit by that blow, but the United States recovered really quickly and came back for another round of attacks. The US was like, China, You've got DeepSeek, but don't forget that for DeepSeek to work, it absolutely requires chips. And for those chips to function as circuits, exactly what is it that they need? Cables. And these cables, the United States can monopolize them too. The US is quick, let me tell you. When it comes to controlling exports to China, high-tech, technology, whatever, they include cables as well. They won't sell high-bandwidth cables to China. So what does China do? Let me explain first. When a chip transmits data, it needs cables. What does that look like? Let me put it simply. Well, I don't know if it's that simple, but let's say we have a chip. It's like a bedroom. In the bedroom, there's a bed. The bed represents data. And if there are many bedrooms, that means there are many chips, many rooms. If we want to transfer data, it's like wanting to move the bed from this room to that room. Each room needs a door and a big enough passageway so the bed can be moved to another room. But the United States restricts the sale of cables. The cable is like the door or the big passageway that allows the bed to be moved. America says no. Thailand or whoever only gives small ones, which are too small for the bed to pass through. America thought, that's it. DeepSeek and QWork definitely won't work if there's no cable with enough bandwidth. So what did China do? China used the method, let's say the bed, which represents the data, is big, right? China compressed it into a zip file, like folding the bed and putting it in a box. Even if the bandwidth is small, it doesn't matter because it's zipped, so it can be sent. There's a problem. Now, even if the cable has small bandwidth, it's not an issue anymore. America is probably crying again. As for the matter where the United States ordered NVIDIA not to sell high-tech chips to China, at that time, they wouldn't allow the sale of H100 chips to China, only H20s, which would make China use about 4 times more electricity or something like that. Do you know what China did? Let me explain this part first. Let me compare for you what the H100 is like. How different is the H20? Let's split the screen like this. Suppose, for example, that the H100 has the capability to solve 2,000 difficult math problems in 1 second and uses 700 watts of electricity. Meanwhile, the H20 can only solve 300 math problems in 1 second and uses 400 watts. So if China only has the H20 and wants to make its capability equal to having an H100, China would need to use 7 H20 units to be able to solve as many equations as a single H100. But this would mean China would have to use much more electricity, up to 2,800 watts, while one H100 can solve 2,000 problems using just 700 watts, right? But if China uses H20s and wants to solve problems at the same rate, to solve 2,000 problems per second, just like the H100, they need to use 2,800 watts of electricity, which is more than 4 times as much. Hey, at this point, the US figures that if China has to use that much more power, their costs will definitely be higher. So how could they possibly have a price advantage? Right, using more electricity should mean higher costs. So they shouldn't have any cost advantage in production. And what if China tried to do that in America? But that's not the case. China is doing it in their own country. The cost of electricity in America and China just can't be compared. And China doesn't stop there. They're thinking even further. So if the problem with using Hedge 20 is that it requires 4 times more energy than Hedge 10, then China will just make the cost of energy in China even cheaper. So cheap that it becomes almost negligible. So how did China manage to make energy in their country so cheap? The way they did it was by building an energy empire, literally. They turned natural resources into electricity-generating machines. And there are 4 main ways they did this, all of them really impressive. The first is turning deserts into solar batteries with the photothermal power plant project. You can see in the footage, there are tons of mirrors, all facing the same direction. The sun, this is a massive solar farm located in Dunhuang, Gansu province on the Gobi Desert. This one site alone produces 400 gigawatt hours of electricity per year. That's enough to power hundreds of thousands of households annually. The second energy empire is Tencent. They turned a mountain into a giant refrigerator for their data center, the Tencent 2C Cloud Data Center. Tencent dug 5 huge tunnels into the mountain. So they did just that, building caves inside the mountain that house a data center with 50,000 servers. And honestly, this is just the beginning, because Tencent plans to eventually have 300,000 servers in there. You might wonder, why go through all the trouble of tunneling into a mountain to set up a data center and put servers inside? First, because being inside a mountain is safe. It can withstand explosions. Second, it's safe. Exactly, because inside the mountain, the temperature is naturally cool, right? It's like having natural air conditioning. Like, you could just store servers in a refrigerator or something like that, and it would save millions of dollars a year on air conditioning costs. The third kingdom is about turning the ocean into a giant cooling tank. This one is super creative. China said, okay, if the ocean can dissipate heat, then why not put the data center under the sea? So it became an underwater data center. China is really... They put these massive waterproof cylinders filled with servers down onto the ocean floor so that the ocean itself becomes a natural cooling system for the servers. No need for fans, no need for air conditioning. Plus, there is absolutely no dust and no oxygen either. The fourth one is about turning rivers into machines that generate electricity. In China, their water management projects are mega projects. For example, transferring water from the south to the north, they've already done that. They've also built all sorts of power plants along the Yangtze River, generating electricity from massive dams. The Three Gorges Dam is currently the largest dam in the world, and it's in China. In fact, in China alone, there are already 90,000 dams, almost 100,000 dams. And that's not all. China is about to build another dam, and what's crazy is that it's going to be 3 times bigger than the Three Gorges Dam. If you want to watch a video about this giant dam in China, you can check out this clip. I've already made it. You'll see that China is the #1 producer of hydroelectric power in the world. No one else even comes close. And yes, China is also the country with the highest electricity demand in the world. After all, it's the world's factory. Its demand is even greater than that of many large countries combined. But China is also the country that can generate the most electricity in the world, more than many countries combined. If you look at it, you'll start to see that China's energy infrastructure allows them to produce a huge amount of power. And they can produce and supply electricity at a low cost. On top of that, there's a high level of energy diversification. They use everything, whether it's solar, wind, hydro, or even traditional sources like fossil fuels and coal. They still use those too. And that's not even counting the fact that the Chinese government offers a 50% discount on electricity costs for data centers in the western provinces, with just one condition: the chips must be made in China. The Chinese government has even made AI self-sufficiency a core pillar of its economic strategy. In the country, they absolutely must not rely on the United States, because otherwise they'll get hit by laws like the FDPR, just like what happened to ASML. Or if they bring in American software, it could end up being a Trojan horse, letting viruses in and causing security breaches. They got to the point that at the end of last year, in 2025, the US government thought, hey, let's try to get a bit more revenue from China. So they said NVIDIA could sell the H200 to China. The US thought they had it in the bag. So if China buys, America would get the money too. But it turned out China said no, because they already have what they need and don't want to buy. And when China says they already have it, it means America has OpenAI, China has DFC. America has NVIDIA, China has Huawei. America has Windows, China has Harmony OS. You could say China is hard to beat because they're not weak, not even close. China has long-term economic plans. China is building its own resources. For example, they develop architects, engineers, and specialists in various fields that meet market demands and support the country's development. This is to ensure their human resources are true warriors who can really compete. China has vast resources that haven't been siphoned off by corrupt politicians, so they can manage and utilize them for maximum benefit. And China understands that the foundation of every advantage lies in the people who control the energy.